Hi, welcome to my painting channel which I've called Rita's Art Studio. So come along, paint with me. So I have a 15 by 15 inch stretched canvas and on which I have roughly sketched out the drawing that I want to paint. These are the assortment of brushes. I probably will not be using all of them. I just like to keep them handy so that, sometimes what happens is while I'm painting, I get comfortable with a brush and I use that. I have other brushes, they are bigger, longer brushes. These are mostly hog's hair or bristle brushes, which I like to use for the background or any rough places that I want to paint. For detailed work though, I like to use synthetic brushes. These are mostly synthetic brushes. Some of them, for example, I like brushes, a brush like this for example, which has a nice knife edge with which I can make detailed drawings with the paint. So to begin with, I have these colors. This is burnt umber, raw sienna, deep magenta, this is Prussian blue, and this is permanent green. So what I'm going to do now first is I'm going to load up my brush and I'm going to make a rough sketch of the branches. And I've dipped my brush in a little bit of water, removed most of it, dabbed it on my little napkin, and I'm going to dip it into the raw umber, raw sienna, and make a dark color, a little bit of magenta, a little bit of the blue, and make almost a black color. You could call it a chromatic black. Burnt umber and blue make a lovely black color. See, it looks almost, you call this chromatic black. So even though there's no black color in it, it looks black to our eyes. So I'm applying it thinly. Doesn't matter if I go over a few sketches that I made. I know exactly where they are, so I can always paint them and roughly sketch it out. I want this area to be slightly thicker. Keep loading the brush. So this branch I've drawn, it's going right up here and it is sort of curving up here and there. So let me finish this portion first. So I'm going to add a little white to the mix to lighten up the color because I want to differentiate. I want to register that this is a different branch here. It's coming from behind this main branch. Okay. I think this is the branch that's going up here. Okay, now I'm going to paint the sky, the background. So I've got Prussian blue, cobalt blue, permanent blue light, and this is cerulean blue. So I'm going to mix a little bit of Prussian blue, cobalt, the light blue, and the cerulean blue. I've got a little bit of yellow, which I'll add as a separate pile, just to give a yellowy tinge. Put some green here. So when you mix blue and yellow, you get green. I don't want such a light green right now, so I'll add some darker blue. a darker green, which I can add here and there, just to indicate foliage. I'm going to add a little lighter blue here. Get so engrossed in painting that you don't even realize how much time has gone by. I've taken my medium size brush now because these are larger spaces, so I want to cover it up fast. Turn and twist your brush around so you get that squiggly effect, which gives a nice textured look. Get a little bit of green in this, yes. Because it's the ends of the branches, so there will be greenery here. A few leaves. I'm going on to this upper portion, which I'm going to have slightly lighter than these darker areas. Get a little lighter blue, just streak it on. And the colors I have are deep magenta, crimson lake. I've got cadmium red and pyrrhol orange, but I don't know if I'm going to use it. I've got white here, and now I'm going to start painting the flowers. I'll dip my brush in the magenta, load it up nicely. I'll pick up a little bit of the crimson, and then I'll put some white at the tip and then paint in the flowers. I like the mixture of colors that I'm getting. For the next petal, magenta, crimson and white. And if it darkens a bit, that's fine. Petals are not evenly colored. In fact, I'll put some of the dark here. The middle is dark, so I might as well put the dark since it's again magenta, crimson, both sides of the brush. Pick up some white and there you go. Beautiful color. I loaded crimson, cad red and white, and I'm painting in this one. And let's get this petal on. get some white and paint it on. Yeah, looking good. Get some of the magenta here in the middle. On to the next petal. I loaded my brush again. Cadmium red, little crimson. So I've mixed some of the magenta and I'm going to stroke it in from here. I'm getting a nice mauve color because this is the under part of the petal. Loading some crimson, a little cadmium red, white, and I'm working on this flower. It needs layers and layers of paints until I feel satisfied. I wanted to have a pinkish glow undertone to it. I'm putting a little more white here to differentiate this petal from that. Pick up some white and put it at the tip here. On this tip too, little strokes of white. Color this petal which is turned that side darker, so I put magenta and I'm stroking some of the lighter colors on top. Magenta is peeking through. Just wash your brush and stroke it, and the paint blends better. On the edge to be darker. The tip of my brush right at the edge, just a little bit, just to give it a little outline. Get some crimson, get some white and stroke it in. Yes. Painting requires a lot of patience. Picking up some cadmium red, white, lots of white, medium tone actually. I want to stroke it in here, in between. I'm getting a nice lovely orangey color. Cad red has got an orangey tone to it. At least the camel paints that I'm using. So you keep building in layers and layers. That's the fun part of acrylics. Ooh, look at that peachy color. I want to increase the size of this petal a little. You can always do that. Added some white to it. A little bit of crimson for the middle part. Crimson and white. So on to my next flower. I've got a filbert brush with which I'm going to be painting. It's a synthetic brush, soft bristle. Crimson lake, deep magenta, cadmium red, white, and cobalt and cerulean blues. I'm going to mix the crimson, the cad red, a little bit of the white to give it some opacity, and onto this flower. So it's just a base coat. The small little flowerlets at the end of the branch. Just play around with the colors, see what you like, and stroke it in. Dip the brush a little in the water, wipe off the excess and stroke it in. Mix some white, highlight it. These don't have to be precise. Like I've got a few flowers that are sort of precise, but these ones I'm just bunching together in an impressionistic style, which I like. The tips of the petals get when it's facing that side upwards, they'll get the most sunlight. So I can register that in. Oh, this bunch looks lovely, doesn't it? Picking up some crimson, a little magenta, a little cad orange, cad red, making a darker I'm adding a little blue to it. This is cerulean blue to make it a darker, because I want to paint in a flower that is turned that side. Yeah, then I'll mix some crimson, make it a lighter tone and give it some highlights. Maybe get some cad red. Mixing red and crimson, a little white. I want to get in a flower here. Small flowers. Maybe another flower here. Put some pink tones on this one because the petal is turned that side. Highlights. I have drawn that in, but it's got lost in the blue. Alright, I need to put some dark here. And then pick up the magenta and the cad red. Pick up some white. So now I'm going to be painting the leaves. I've got a small bristle brush, an old bristle brush of mine. I'll dip it in water. The colors I have are Naples yellow, cadmium yellow deep, light green, deep green, cerulean blue and cadmium orange. So I'll mix a little bit of the Naples yellow, a little bit of the yellow, mix up a nice green, a bright green, a little of this dark green, and let's begin with the leaves. Here's one leaf here, one leaf here. I'll put some Naples yellow on top just to register brightness. Here's one leaf. So we keep continuing to paint these leaves in, mixing up the greens, mixing up the yellows. Add a little bit of cadmium red because that tones it down. It's a complementary color of green and blue, so it tones down the green. So I get a little reddish hue, which I like. A few streaks of green. So leaves are fun to paint. I'll get a more yellowy tone on this one, just for a change of color. This one I'll get a little darker. I'll put a little red here. Keep mixing your colors and putting them in. Leaves are fun to paint. Maybe that's become a little too dark, so I'll just add a little yellow. Get various shades of green. Some Naples yellow on this one. Naples yellow is slightly a dull paint. You can always refine it later, just register in it now, and if you want to, you can refine it later. I don't think I will refine it. I like the abstract nature of what I'm doing right now. These leaves are a little in the distance, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue, the cerulean blue, and paint them in. They sort of disappear into the sky, but I don't want it disappearing that much. A little more green. Tips of little bits of brighter green, just to show that maybe the sun is catching it. You know, the sun filters in through the branches and highlights portions of it. Acrylics dry up darker, so keep that in mind. So when these leaves dry up, they will become darker in color. So I want to just highlight a few so that they don't get lost. And mix up the paint on the canvas itself. Few yellow leaves here and there. One has become a little too dark, and I want it to be a little dark but show up. Mixing the paints, not mixing them too much. So I want the variations of the colors to show up. I'm not defining them too much, just registering that there's some greenery there. I think that's about it for the leaves. Maybe I'll put some highlights on this one. You know, one can keep on and on painting. There's no end to it until one is satisfied. Next, I'm going to tackle the highlights of the flowers. I want the flowers to have, so I've mixed up some cadmium red, white, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of crimson. Just registering that the flowers are catching the sun, the petals here and there. This one I want a little more crimson because it's a little in the background. But add some more white because I want this flower to come out. I want these 3 flowers are in shadow, but I still want to highlight them a little. I want that orangey color to come. Cadmium red has got orange tones. I like that. It's a nice warm tone to it. These ones here, I want those to be slightly crimson. Maybe this needs a little work. It's looking a little too dull. So one can keep working on this on and on until one is satisfied. Now I've got some deep magenta and I'm going to put it in the middle of the flowers where the stamens come out. Little squiggly little stamens. Keep loading the brush. I've got a small little brush, a flat brush. This one. This one here. Deep color in the middle. Dip the brush in a little water so that the paint flows. And give it those stamens. Some are long, some are shorter. I want to darken up this one. This is a little bud. Same here, this is a bud. I put a little orange in the middle. Cadmium red, I'm sorry. I keep calling it orange because it looks so orange. So next I'm going to put some pollen dust on top of the stamens. So for that I've got cadmium red, cadmium orange and yellow, and I'll mix a little white with it because to make it opaque, because all these cadmium reds and oranges and yellows are transparent, and just put little dabs of pollen on top. Some more yellow, little more white. Little dabs with your brush. That one got a little too thick. You wipe it off. Looks lovely, isn't it? I put some bright yellow on top. And this one too. Pick up some yellow, a little bit of orange, white, and we'll do this one. Doesn't that look lovely? Just adds that little zing to the flowers. Just this little thing, you know. Next, I have a few buds here in the distance. I don't want it to be too bright. So I've mixed up some cad red, a little crimson. I've added some magenta to it to give it that dull kind of pink. This branch is disappearing into the distance here. I'll put some of this color here too. I always like to add some color that I like elsewhere, just to give it a harmony. It's deepening up the colors. I'm going to put another layer. I want to add a few stalks, so I'm going to mix up the deep magenta, the cad red, the crimson, get a nice dark color, and here's one stalk I want to kind of highlight. I think it needs a little more red. This one, just here and there. And add some stalks to the leaves as well. There's one stalk coming here. Then I'll put a few crimson dashes here. Dabs of color. When I thought of this painting, I was influenced by Van Gogh's almond tree, and that's why I made the sky like that. But his branches have far more colors, but I like my branches dark like this. I think it looks so dramatic coming into my sky, and the flowers are popping out. So I'm not going to mess around with my branches. Maybe I'll just put a few dark colors here and there. So I've got burnt umber, burnt sienna, a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of the deep magenta. I'm mixing it all up to get a nice chocolatey brown, and I'll add a little bit of, you know, the branches are a little knobby here and there, so I want to register that. A little plain burnt umber. I'm not covering up the whole thing. I'm keeping the dark Prussian blue basically that I had put as the base. I like that color very much. Just making it look like wood. I'm going to get some burnt sienna to register a lighter color there, a little bit. Just play around with your brush, squiggle it around. Plain burnt umber, because the under part would be darker. So this is the finished painting, Sakura or cherry blossoms. You know, in Japanese culture, it is revered as a flower that depicts the fleetingness of life. You know how fleeting life is. It blooms for about 2 weeks and then the flowers fall off. So the Japanese philosophy is centered around that, one of their philosophies, which I find so beautiful. So let me give you a close-up. These are the flowers on top. I kept the branches dark because I like the dramatic nature of them crisscrossing the canvas. And these are the bottom flowers. And there you have it. I hope you liked my video. I hope you paint along with me. And don't forget to subscribe, to share my video, to like my video, and of course don't forget to comment. So bye. See you next time.